that medical drones crucial for fight against COVID-19 in Africa. Zipline country manager says so. AHH signed on to Farm Access Safe Care to improve health services. IMF backs Bank of Ghana to keep policy rates tight over inflation scare. GCB Bank presents 14 million Ghana cedis dividend to government. The Ghanaian Times. At the vetting of Special Prosecutor Nominee, I will be ruthless with all cases, Kisi Ejabin pledges. COVID-19 third wave imminent, according to the Ghana Health Service. What's up with our vaccine procurement? That's the next question. Fight against Galamsey. No ban on small-scale mining. Go and do your work. Miracle Duka tells miners. He's a deputy minister in that department. Court stops government from collecting mobile phone subscribers' personal data. The Daily Graphic. Appointment Committee endorses Ajabin as Special Prosecutor. 7.62 billion Ghana cedis for free SHS in 5 years, according to the Finance Minister, Ken Oforiatta, to Parliament. 7 convicted of WASI malpractice. The Daily Guide. Corruption will be costly. Kisi Ejabin, as he tells us, he cannot stop it, and even heaven knows it. Atuasian challenges open defense order. No loan for free SHS. Ghana Gas Board assumes office, and carcass killers remanded again. The Finder. Kisi Ejabin receives unanimous approval after vetting in less than 1 hour. Accept the president's MMDC's appointees in good faith. Chairman Kangberi tells all of us. Cocoa highest production in history attained. Over 1 million tons achieved with 10 weeks to end the season. And First Lady commissions First Atlantic Bank's visitors lounge at Kolebu. A final one for this morning, the Republic Press. COVID-19, we can no longer take things for granted. Director of WACPIP at the University of Ghana. Chief vows to cane loitering girls to stop teenage pregnancy menace. Cane. I heard that once upon a time at Jamestown. Profile of new IGP, COP Dr. George Ekufu Dampare is in there. Grab a copy and find out. Banner headline. I am my own man, Kisi Ejabin declares as he rejects Amidu's big shoes. He says he's bringing his own experience, professionalism, and his own pair of shoes. No show. Akufo-Addo's Eastern Regional Hospital project abandoned a year after sword cutting. COVID-19, we can't let down our guard. Republic Press says so in their editorial. Lawyer Abraham Amalba is my guest this morning. He is the head of the legal team of the National Democratic Congress. We're expecting a rep from the side of the NPP to join us, and then we can have the judge. Council, good morning. How are you doing?
Johnny, good morning to you also. How am I doing? Definitely, you should know that with the bad state of the economy, definitely you would understand why I would say that things are not going on well. However, with the grace of God, we intend to soldier on. And so the economy is such that as you wake up, you find people either calling you for some stipend, requesting you to assist them. And for me, this is a clear indication that things are not moving on well. Recently, you've heard of an increase in the price of foodstuff. They are skyrocketing. And I think that we are in for more difficult times to come.
But the president said we're a net exporter of food. He said it in Parliament. So the basics like tomato, onions, and the rest that you are crying about. The president told Parliament in this last State of the Nation address that we import food. We are a net exporter of food.
I don't know why people like you still believe the president when he talks.
He spoke in Parliament.
Yes. This is a president who has promised this country to turn the country into a much better place within 18 months. We've not seen that. A lot of promises that this President has made, he has not fulfilled. Indeed, recently, when we were hit with COVID, he indicated that he was going to build some 88 hospitals.
Right.
So I don't know what for me, I have stopped listening to the president. I prefer, the president does not come to me as somebody who is candid. I would always want my president to be believed. He should be the last person that anybody will have doubts about. Anybody can come and say anything and go away. But if the president speaks, you need to have confidence in the president. But here we are, we have a president who on daily basis, when he speaks, it's difficult to accept what he says because what he says is different from what he does. He doesn't walk his talk.
Are you sure? On all fronts?
On all fronts.
You can cut the president some slack. He promised that he was going to cut down the number of his ministers. He has. He promised you free SHS. It is running. One district, one factory. Some of the factories have come up. He has told you that some are at different stages of completion and some are still in the works. I mean, so Johnny, there are things that you can. You saw the delivery tracker. You heard the town hall meeting that Dr. Bawumia addressed. So why are you being pessimistic?
Johnny, are you happy with the implementation of this free senior high school program? Are you happy? You've seen videos of how school children, our learners, have complained about even lack of food. You've seen how the students go to school just for some few days, number of days, and then come home for a longer period. Are you happy as a parent? Are you happy with the implementation of the free senior high school?
But the Ghana Education Service always says that, look, we are doing everything in our power so the children don't miss the contact hours. In terms of, for example, the SS3 candidates now, they don't miss 1,080 contact hours that they are supposed to get. So if the Education Service is assuring me, why should I be doubtful?
I am saying that our learners now spend more time at home than in school. And that's a fact. Now, what has this brought in its wake? It has brought in its wake some extra, expenditure on parents. Because parents would then have to organize or look for teachers to be teaching the students because they wouldn't want the learners to go wayward. And I'm saying that this was not how our school system used to be. The implementation, the haphazard implementation of the system in itself has brought some difficulties in the way the school system is structured. And so
you don't want change?
Change which is positive, but not such a negative change, a change which is crippling and destroying the educational system is what I am against. But change which is positive, I agree to.
But the numbers of children who are now going to school have increased. I mean, you're getting, in terms of the WASI passes and all of that, you're getting quite a bigger chunk of the West African glory. So you should be happy that at least something is happening that's good in your country.
That is a fallacy of some of the, communicators of the government. Every year, every academic year, intake increases. It's not free senior high school which has brought increases. Check the enrollment. Every academic year, the enrollment increases. And so to then come back and say that it is the free senior high school that has chalked that success is for me, as it were, pulling a wool over people's eyes. The senior high school program is good, but I'm saying that its implementation by this administration is nothing to write home about. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, I hear you.
And so it is important that they listen. You've heard Charles, assistant secondary school headmasters, complain about the fact that they are unable to even point out to government some of the challenges that the program is facing.
Why are they not able to do? Don't they have mouths to speak?
They are being targeted.
They have union heads.
In fact, I read from one of them who said that never in the history of CHAS has the association become so dormant than they are witnessing under this administration.
Are you suggesting to me that...
Because under this administration, the headmasters are not allowed to voice out their misgivings. And he even cited that in the past, CHAS could hold a press conference and point out at weaknesses in the education system. Now you do that, you are targeted, you are dismissed, or you are transferred.
Well, but I thought that government always has worked with these unions. For example, NAGRAT, NAT, CHAS, all of them. The government has worked with them because in the past, in fact, in the recent postponement of reopening date from 30th April to the 5th of May, it was Alhaji CHAS in Kumasi who had come to tell us that, they didn't have furniture and other things, so they had advised that arrangement be done, for example, so that the Form 1s can go home early and then the Form 3s can come back and stay in school till they write the exam. So they have that synergy running. Why would anybody suggest that if they speak up? Because Alhaji CHAS spoke up, he's still in office. Why would anybody say that?
Are you unaware of a headmaster at Osu Salem Secondary School who was removed because he had indicated that because of the high numbers of students were sitting on blocks and on the floor, and for that matter, parents should assist the school with furniture. He was removed. Are you unaware of that? And so what I'm saying is that I'm talking about the suppression of views by headmasters. And indeed, recently, a colleague of mine told me that he went back to his alma mater, the senior high school, and he was told by some of the students that they have been given telephone numbers so that if they find any teacher who, in their view, is not in support of the system, they call the GES people or whoever. And I said, since when has this happened? So the students are even now becoming more powerful than the students.
But the students are not supposed to have phones in the school.
So that is the point.
So if they have phones in the school...
They've been given phone numbers to make those calls.
But how do they call if they don't have phones in the school?
That is what I was told. And that is true because it's possible they could step out and get somebody to call, and then that report is made.
Okay.
I am saying that it is important for this government to allow opposing views, to allow people to air out their views. I heard a president, when there was a debate in the media concerning the implementation of senior high school, I heard the president in Kumasi, somewhere in Kumasi, say that there are some people who are against the senior high school program and that by so doing, they are against the development of this country. Since when has criticizing constructively become a negative issue for the president to think that those who are pointing out at the failures of the program are the ones who don't want the program to go on? Since when?
Okay, well, let's read from you your thoughts and comments on our WhatsApp console. The number will be on your screen shortly. You can join us. The hashtag is also TV3 New Day. But yesterday, Blelby lawyer Kisi Ejabin, 43, who will be the youngest special prosecutor if the plenary in Parliament grants him that endorsement. But he faced the appointment committee. What were some of the highlights? Take a look at this quickly and we'll come back to have that conversation. In the meantime, we still have an empty chair for the representative of the New Patriotic Party who hasn't showed up yet. We'll see after this clip.
For 3 hours, Kisi Ejabing answered some hard questions about claims he is a surrogate for a law firm, Africa Legal Associates, a firm belonging to NPP member Gabi Asario-Tredako. He also answered questions about his age, being the youngest SP at age 43, as well as issues relating to his independence and his track record in fighting corruption. The Office of the Special Prosecutor is mandated to investigate and prosecute all corruption-related offences, abuse of office and conflict of interest pertaining to public officers, politically exposed persons and persons in the private sector. Mr. Jabing maintained that his experience makes him more than qualified for the current role, not his age.
I was called to the bar some 18 years ago. I qualified to sit on the Supreme Court of Ghana. I have taught criminal law, especially in the University of Ghana, for 15 years, continuously. Supervises the collation of evidence and all that for presentation to the Attorney General. Without me, the Attorney General's office will be poorer in terms of those prosecutions.
Mr. Jabing mounted a strong rejection of claims that he is a surrogate of another law firm and that he had links with the botched Ejapa deal.
I was not involved in the Ejapa transaction in any form or manner by any stretch of the imagination, however fertile. I wasn't involved in the deal. I was nowhere near it. Indeed, until it started coming up, I didn't even know what it was.
The special prosecutor indicated that although he will fight corruption, he may not end it entirely.
I'm not naive to assume that I'm coming to stop corruption. There is no way I can stop corruption.
Martin Amidu resigned, claiming undue executive interference. But will the new OSP succumb to pressure to resign when the going gets tough?
My first inclination will be to persevere along, because that is my calling, and that is the oath that I have sworn. Unless it becomes so unbearable, then I will say the Republic should take its job.
Approved by the 275 members of parliament, Mr. Jabing has a 7-year tenure to live up to his track record of being committed to the law and the fight against corruption.
So that's lawyer Kisi Jabing. He awaits the blessing of the plenary to be special prosecutor. Remember that on the 16th of April 2021, the Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice had written to the President suggesting that lawyer Kisi Jabing has satisfied Section 13 or the requirements of Section 13 of Act 959, which is the Special Prosecutors Act. And so he had given his blessing that he becomes the special prosecutor. The President would in turn write to the Speaker of Parliament and ask that he be looked at or put under the microscope. Yesterday, that activity happened, and lawyer Abraham Maleba, so impressive CV, impressive career, well-spoken gentleman, and I'm not surprised because he's Bloby. Can he do what his predecessor could not do?
Let me formally say good morning to your viewers. Any lawyer with the kind of CV that Kisi Jabing has, in my view, is qualified to do the work of the special prosecutor. Any lawyer with the kind of legal background that Kisi Jabing has will be able to man that office. But the question is not whether he can do it or not. That is a given. Because what is he supposed to do? Investigate and prosecute, and in some cases, stop corrupt practices.
Right.
So the investigation actually is not going to be done by him. It's going to be on rare occasions that he himself will get involved. There are investigators who are seconded or would be in that office who will be doing that.
It says he will use investigative journalists.
Exactly. Who will do that? Prosecution, he may not be involved, but in some cases he could be involved. Like we saw Martin Amidu in some cases getting involved. So it is not about that. And it's not, the office is not going to be a place where you will be going and be asking him questions and he'll be answering for you to say that he performed extremely well at the vetting, so there too he can do it. Those are not the things. For me, what is critical, and I don't know whether they asked him that question yesterday, is whether the president will allow him to do his work.
Well, Suhini, Honorable Alasan Suhini, Tamale North MP asked him if he can count on the support of the president to deliver on his work.
Yes.
And if I remember, his answer was that per his checks, he can count on the support of the president, which is why he is sitting here to be vetted. So seems to suggest that he believes he will have the support of the president. Why you doubt that he would?
His predecessor also gave us that understanding, that he has the backing of the president. My point in this is that if you look at the president and his administration, there were two persons under this administration who fought corruption.
Who are they?
Domelevo and Martin Amido. Now, how did these two people end up? One was sacked by the president, that's Domelevo, and one said that the president interfered in his work.
Domelevo was 60, he had to retire.
Say it again.
Domelevo was 60, he had to retire.
No, Domelevo said,
the board chairman of the audit service, he was 60 and he has to retire. He wrote to the president says he accepts that, and then he was asked to retire.
No, Domelevo said he was 59.
Right.
The president said that he has seen somewhere that you say you are 60. So he should go. But before then, look at the challenges Domelevo faced to the extent that his office were barricaded. Point is this. When these two persons were doing their work and were prosecuting or investigating former government officials, there was no problem. In Domelevo's case, when he surcharged Osafo Mafo, then the president's antennas were all up. The entire government machinery went after him, and the end game is what we have seen. In Martin Amido, when he was going after people like Ayarga, it was okay. But immediately he conducted a risk assessment on the Ejapa deal, and they were accusing fingers, pointing at Ken Oforiatta. You saw what happened. The president intervened, called him, and asked him to incorporate some information that was given to him by Ken. We also heard
Audio Terem Patem.
We also heard how Ken himself at 4 a.m. visited Martin Amido at home. These are the interferences. And these are, for me, the weightier matters. Can Ajabin withstand these type of interferences from the president? So that, for me,
is your big point.
It's my biggest problem.
Okay. So
but the young man is qualified, can do the work, and I've indicated that he is a moderate. And I am sure, because I've worked with him before, he will not go after people if there's no evidence that these people have committed crime. I know him as a moderate.
Right.
But this administration, this government, this president, with his inability to take criticisms and also stomach investigations against his administration or appointees, is what would make Ajabin fail.
Counsel, what do you say to those who suggest, for example, that Martin Amido's frosty relationship with the president, which led to his eventual resignation, and we saw the litany of missives, or if you like, epistles that he wrote, one of which sought to suggest that the president, he doesn't believe that the president can fight corruption now and in the future. And he wrote very derogatory things about the president, including calling him a mother serpent of all corruption. Don't you think that that frosty relationship, perhaps he was trying to make a case out of nothing just to win public sympathy, Mr. Martin Amidu?
See, you are talking about a frosty relationship.
Right.
But you are not averting your mind to what might have caused the frosty relationship. They didn't start with a frosty relationship. They didn't.
Right.
Work was going on well. Everybody was doing his work. And that's why I've chronicled. I had to go back to tell you when Martin Amidu took over and was working and was investigating former government appointees, it was okay for President Akufo-Addo. But immediately that Martin Amidu focused his attention on his cousin, the finance minister, that was where the frosty relationship began. And I'm saying that there would always be frosty relationship because of the stance taken by this president against investigating people around him. That is his nature.
Okay.
So for me, Kisi Ajabin, has he got what it takes to ward off the president? Even for Martin Amidu, with his stature, you saw how they had to even go to his house at 4 a.m. For Kisi Ajabin, with his closeness to this administration or members of this administration, he's been friends with some of them.
Say they are his professional colleagues. Gabi, for example, is his professional colleague.
Yes. And professional colleague, is that your enemy? He's your friend. With his closeness to those people, don't you think that in his case, they'll even summon him to the flag server?
Well, he's going to work with the board. The OSP doesn't work in a vacuum. He's going to work with the board. The board comprises of the OSP himself, his deputy, the CSOs in corruption or anti-graft. IGP will give him one. National Security, Shraj will give him one. Iyoko will give him one. So he has a compendium of people that he will work with. He's not going to work alone. So what makes you think that the board will allow any such thing to happen?
I'm happy at your knowledge of the composition of the board. I think you are doing well.
Thank you very much.
But Martin Amidu had this board, and yet there was this interference. I want Ghanaians to avert their minds to the nature of the person who is at the helm of affairs. His attitude towards acts of corruption by his appointees. From day one, since the president assumed office, he has always maintained a certain stand. That is to say, his appointees are not corrupt. And even if there are investigations, you see him coming out with comments, statements that suggest that he is trying to influence the outcome of those investigations. So let's focus on the president and the presidency. Let's ensure that we speak up against the conduct of the president so as to enable Kisi Ajabin succeed. I want him to succeed. And the only stumbling block is the conduct of this president, his interference in the work of, independent bodies. And I've chronicled, I've indicated how Domlevo was axed away. I've indicated how it became intolerable for Martin Amidu to stay in office. And he himself, Kisi, has told us, he sounded a note of a warning to us, that unless it becomes intolerable, he said it. So, once again, do we want another special prosecutor to leave office? No. How do we ensure that this doesn't happen? We will need to focus our attention on the president and the presidency to allow the office to operate. If that is done, it doesn't matter whose ox is God. Even if it's the president's cousin, let him face the music. So if we are able to shield Kisi Ajabin from the presidency, I am of the view that he will succeed. But if we allow the presidency to be lurking around that office as he did during Martin Amidu's time, which made it difficult for Martin Amidu to operate, I can tell you that we are going to have another resignation. Or if we don't have another resignation, we only have a special prosecutor who will just be playing ball and will not have the effect of that office at all.
His predecessor, for example, and I'll come to that, but yesterday in Parliament, in less than 1 hour after his vetting, he was unanimously confirmed by the Appointments Committee. That's something that should give you an indication that both sides believe in his competencies, they believe he can deliver. Is that not, if you decide to stretch it, that not suggesting to you that perhaps the government, as you keep hammering on, would at least give him a chance to work?
No, I want to separate the two. Government giving him a chance to work is not connected to what happened in Parliament. What happened in Parliament is simply to look at his qualification,
right,
to look at whether he meets the qualification criteria,
right,
as stipulated in the OSP's Act
959.
And they realized that he's qualified.
But he was asked questions regarding Ejapa, his relationship to certain persons in government and all of that. If he was able to satisfy it and both sides agreed, that should perhaps give you an indication that, well, maybe all the things that you are saying now in the case of Martin Amidu may not apply for lawyer Kisi Ejapa.
No, are you saying that in Martin Amidu's case there was no interference? I'm talking about interference in his work.
Okay.
In the Ejapa dealings, well, he's answered the question that he's not connected to Ejapa.
Right.
Unless somebody has a superior evidence to show that he's connected to Ejapa. But for me, that was an opportunity for him to dispel the notion that maybe Martin Amidu wrote about him. We wait to see whether there will be a much superior evidence that can be used to counter what he has said. But it is also a fact, and I indicated here in my opening submission, that he is too close to people who are close to the presidency.
But he also explained that, look, I can be close to you, Amal, but the fact that I am close to you, if you go on the wrong side of the law, that doesn't mean I shouldn't hold your feet to the fire. He said it yesterday.
Good. So now, this appointment, if it goes through, but you say there are some other steps to
right, just one step more.
So if he's given the nod, he has a golden opportunity to distance himself from this notion that because he's close to people in government and people associated to the presidency, he cannot do his work. He has a golden opportunity so that should any of them fall foul of the law and then he decides to crack the whip and is able to ward off any interference which will possibly come from the presidency, then some of us will eat humble pie. And that is what we actually want him to do. But for now, your reputation, when you invite somebody to your house, his reputation comes before him. I'm sure when you people invited me here, there was something you were thinking about me, even before I arrived here.
Right.
So in his case, what people would think about him is, before he even enters the office, but he's too close to Godfrey Adame, but he's too close to Gabriel Chidako. And in most of the deals, you find names of people who are close to the presidency who are part of that.
Well, so he sat in class with Godfrey Adame, who is the Attorney General. Is it then your view that because he sat in class, he's close to him, they are friends, his workings with him on a professional level as Attorney General at OSP may be conflicted?
So the question now to ask, after having said all this, how is that going to influence his work? Can he, for instance, stand on his grounds and say that I will go after this man, and if the Attorney General says don't go for that person or don't go after that person, he can still say that I'll go for that person. So these are the questions. We are not saying that you shouldn't be friends, but how would your friendship impact on your ability to do your work? That is the fear some of us are expressing.
I hear.
But he has a golden opportunity to dispel those notions if he himself decides that I am going to do the work and it doesn't matter whose ox is God.
Okay, I hear you. Let's read some of your messages that you have sent in on our WhatsApp console right now, and then we will come back to have a quick conversation. There's a new IGP in town. What are the expectations of the new IGP? For example, this morning I raised some issues about seeing two policemen on the back of a motorbike with their guns strapped across their backs, and it looks like they had gone on a night duty and they were returning. You would see them oftentimes in trotro with their guns, sometimes fighting over the front seat with pedestrians. You hardly would see police visibility these days, and you see too much of "I want to show you where power lies," where people wear uniforms and they want to show where power lies. We'll come and have a conversation about this and what Amalba thinks of the new IGP and what he expects from the new IGP. We still do not have a rep from the NPP. There's an empty chair here. When the individual comes, I'm sure we can afford them a chance. But let's go onto the screens now and check out what's happening on your screens at this point. And you've sent in your messages, so we shall read them to you. Niyama Shonkatai reminds me, Council, that it's actually La Presec, not Osu Presec. The headmaster was asked to go home. Good morning. Good morning, Johnny. Mr. Abraham Maliba is blind. He's not seeing all what's pointing to him. By the way, please ask him why he ran away and abandoned the Asin North MP in court and got him mad. Good morning to you, Johnny, and your panel members. Please tell the ECJ Mensa that we are still waiting for allowances from December till date. What has happened to allowances? This has never happened in the history of Ghana as far as elections are concerned. For it's too long overdue. If you are not paying us allowances, let us know. But I thought that the Electoral Commission had written to say that they had paid you. So how is it that they still still do not have your money? It's a shame if it is true. It's a big shame. Good morning, Johnny. From all indications, it appears the OSP nominee has proven to be very knowledgeable and experienced in the portfolio. However, considering the chronicles of former SP vis-a-vis labeling the president as the mother serpent of corruption, we can only hope against hope that he delivers. Boniface in Tama. Hi, Johnny. The issue of policemen on the motorbike is so serious. Go to the police training schools, be it Tessan or Winneba, etc., and you see their buses parked while we need them for operation. These trainees don't go to operations. Let's go for some of these for the interest of the state. Good morning, Johnny. You look great this morning. Thank you to Sona for making me look great for you to appreciate. Don't forget to leave me some of the food this morning. Or I doubt if there are people in our mother Ghana that take the words of this president serious, except his party members. Not all of them, even not all of them. God save us, Eric from Ho. Good morning. New day. Good morning to you, Johnny, and your panelists. With all due respect to the president, but sometimes I'm tempted to believe that the president seems to be out of touch with the realities of the living conditions of the citizenry. How much will it cost to go out there, same way they do when campaigning, to ask the ordinary Ghanaian how their living standards are compared to some 5 years ago? Is this what was indeed promised as David from Alajo? Good morning to you, the host and your panelists, for the good work you're doing for motherland Ghana. The appointment of the new IGP would not change anything in our security unless it's linked with the total removal of powers of the president from appointing the IGP. Hashtag implement the constitutional review recommendations. I am Ezekiel. Good morning, TV3. Free education is good, but the policies and implementation is the problem. The number of students who went back to SHS2 after completing last year, pregnancies, lack of material, spending more days at home than in school, etc., is alarming and an indication to the failure in our educational system and the sector. Our future is in jeopardy. We need a reform. Hashtag TV3 New Day from Victor Rapture in Hull. Good morning, my lovely host. I'm happy we still have well-committed journalists like yourself and the entire production team. May God bless you for your good works. From Sir Sam at Offensive State, B in JHS. Good morning, Johnny. Lawyer Kisi is qualified, a qualified person to be as SP, but he will not be able to do the job well because the current system and leadership that is appointing him won't allow him to work well. He must act accordingly, else he will be fought by corruption. From Yahuza, best teacher in Tamale. And those are some of your messages that you sent in this morning on TV3 New Day. Take a look at this report. We'll return to the studio with lawyer Abraham Amaleba to continue our conversation this morning.
Member Member of Parliament for Wild West and former Executive Secretary to the ex-IGP, David Asante-Apietu, is of the view the appointment is timely in the wake of recent happenings within the internal security space.
The appointment of Dr. George Akufu-Dampare is welcoming news to many of us within the security circles, and we can only pray that he will come with the experiences that he's gained over the years. All we have to do is to support him. And I want the Inspector General of Police to be able to win back public support by ensuring that within the shortest possible time, crime rate should be down, particularly violent crime. That alone can motivate the public to rally to his support.
He has called for changes in the police architecture and public support for the work of the new IGP.
He should ensure that if it is possible to have FPUs in all the 16 regions of this country, that would be a good step towards maintaining our democracy, because demonstrations and public gatherings are part of the right guaranteed under the Constitution. And the police have a duty to provide security. So if we cannot do it and all the time we are getting the military involved in internal security environment with all the flashbacks that are coming, I think that we will be doing ourselves some bad. So let's bring the morale back. Let the men and women wear the uniform and feel proud that they are in uniform. And they will go out there, even at the peril of their lives. They will serve Ghana better.
COP Dr. George Akufu-Dampare is the second youngest person after FP Che ever appointed to the high office of Inspector General of Police. He officially takes office on August 1. Nancy Vokania, TV3 News, Accra.
Congratulations to COP Dr. Akufu-Dampare. That will be 9 years in the seat if he's eventually confirmed. There are concerns that by security analysts that he should be confirmed and not be kept in acting position, because that could compromise him and could make him become, some kind of puppet, for want of a better expression, in the arms of those who appointed him. But Council, what are your expectations of the IGP? You heard the MP, former executive secretary to a former IGP. He has spoken, but what do you say as a citizen?
My first question is what you touch on. Why he seemed asked to go and act? Why? Why couldn't they just give him the portfolio of an IGP? Why is he acting? Is it that they are unsure of his commitment to the work? They are unsure that he's qualified? Or they are unsure that he will do their bidding? Which one? We need to know. We need to know.
Okay.
I am of the view that, and you rightly touch on it, that this is an attempt to get him not to fully go out there and do his work in such a way as to affect the government. So, for instance, these hoodlums who go about attacking people, they are vigilante boys. If he goes after them as an acting IGP, and there's a call from, say, the presidency that, look, these are our boys, leave them, let them go, would he be able to say that, look, I am not going to allow them to go because they are criminals, and once they are criminals, the law will deal with them? If he's in acting position, will he be able to look in the faces of those people from high up and tell them this? So I think that the position of acting IGP
right,
is a way to make him look a bit soft when it comes to matters relating to the members of the administration. But if you take that away, and I hope that he will soon be confirmed.
Okay.
If you take that away, you look at his CV, you look at the roles he's already played.
Okay.
I have not heard any negative thing about him.
Right.
As a police officer.
Okay. Wrap up for me.
I am of the view that he's coming at a time when there are challenges within the police service, and that for me is going to be a stumbling block for him. His ability to reform the police service and make it a more, a more service that is looking into issues with our political colors would make him stand out. Okay. And I think that it is important for him to show to the people of this country that he means to bring some reform into the police service.
Thank you.
And then I'll expect that very soon there will be some internal shake-up.
Right. Thank you very much. Lawyer Abraham Maliba has been my guest here on New Day. We didn't have an MPP rep, but Abraham Maliba is the head of the legal department at the NDC National Office. Also, a happy birthday to Jeffrey Ajete Mensah of Ebenezer High Academy School at Kaswa of Fakor. It's your birthday today. This is from your dad, Chris Soa, here at TV3. Also, Musa Abato says, Johnny, I totally agree with the submission by Lawyer Maliba. Find it very appropriate for the new special prosecutor to disassociate himself from the questionable Ijapadio, but the fundamental question is, can he absorb undue pressure by the executive? That's what you're asking. Ambassador Stampia says any Ghanaian may have his or her reasons for accepting or rejecting the appointment of the new now special prosecutor. However, I'm prepared to give him the full benefit of the doubt. Let's all pray for him to succeed. That's what lawyer Ambassador Stampia says. Well,